Sometimes when we do a story on television, it lasts about 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes. When you're talking to these guys, you've got to give a little more time for that. And so that's why I decided to put this video together, to put it on YouTube. So this is going to be the unedited version of a conversation with 4 American heroes and a name that you're going to be very familiar with. I hope you enjoy it. If you don't mind, say and spell your first and last name.
My name is George Patton Waters, George Patton Waters.
You are here for this event, and you just made the remark to me that this is kind of what America's all about. Tell me
This
what you
is
mean.
the name of this museum, Freedom's Not Free. I'm here because I support the 737 Tank Battalion and what they did and what they did. The Patton Spearhead, they were called, and what these men's commitment were, what it was to the American effort, and to my grandfather. This is why my grandfather was successful, because you see 4 men here that just, they put it all on the line. They didn't give it all because they didn't die, but they put it on the line for our country, and they're just the greatest heroes.
What is the feeling you have of knowing that these are the guys who served with your grandfather?
It's emotional because I know that his success was all predicated on what they did, and you see them, you see their families, you see their children, the grandchildren, brothers, sisters. The success of all those people is because these men were successful. We're just blessed to have people that are still with us at that age.
Do you feel like our nation remembers them properly or gives them proper credit?
No, I don't. I don't feel it. And I said last night, one thing I think that we're missing in America, the 400,000 men that served with my grandfather, we have no regard for the mothers who sent those men over. And think about it, the mother birthed the child, she nurtured the child. I get emotional. But they got the kids there. And she didn't know, and the child would be dead, and she'd get a letter from him. And we don't regard our veterans' parents, and that's really sad for me that those moms stayed home and they didn't know. And the soldier's life was tough, but so was hers. And that's one of my messages. It really means a lot to me is thank you, Grandma, thank you, my mom, for my dad, putting up with the war. And we need to thank our grandparents, those that gave the children that went over to the war. They need to be remembered too. America's a great country, but that's because we have great women who birth the children and great husbands. And we just have, everything's great about America. And that's why they're the greatest generation. And they're fading fast. We have 4 today. We had 9 last time. The numbers they're not good.
How large was this group at the time?
I thought there were around 3,000 as a battalion. I don't know battalion strength. I don't memorize that.
Right.
I just know there's 4 wonderful people here today, and those are the people that I hope you'll talk to and let them tell you how happy they are to be here.
Well, I will. Trust me.
Okay, that's great.
Aside from events like this, what is kind of the most frequently asked question that you get when people realize who you are?
Did you like the movie? Nah, it's one of the big questions. I always hate to say that, but people don't really ask as much as they say thank you. And I was only born into the situation. I went in the United States Navy to serve for my 5 years, so I think people are more appreciative than asking questions. They do ask a lot about, did you like the movie? Is this good? It was an excellent movie. The family loved the movie. The family had nothing to do with the movie either. We're not part of the payroll on that. But I guess they ask a lot about his death because Bill Riley wrote a book about it, and it's been questioned, but I mean, the record speaks for itself. He died from pneumonia from an embolism that popped, and he just passed away. So people are very nice to me about it. I have met people who didn't like him, but when they tell you, after they tell you what a mean person he was and everything, I look at him straight in the eyes and I say, well, you're here. Well, yeah, thanks to Georgie, I got back. And I think, okay, you've answered my question. You may have hated him, but he kept you alive, and you kept him alive, and so it's a mutual respect for people.
Is it, you grew up with the name also?
Yes, I did. My father was a 4-star Army general,
Yes.
West Pointer,
Yeah.
and that was the one I had the hard time. He was disappointed I went in the Navy, but he was real. He loved the service. I mean, he put his life into the service. He was paid back very, very handsomely with his promotions and the credit, the service. I don't know how he would feel about his son, but he saluted me when I saluted him first. So
I'm sure he'd be very proud.
we got through it together. Yeah. No, I've been very privileged. I'm privileged. I'm one of the few people in the world that is really privileged by birth. And I had nothing to do with it. And I can't claim any of the fame, but I can sure go back and say thank you to everybody and tell them how much I appreciate what they did. And I mean, what these young men did and what their parents did, letting them go do it. Yeah, this is great. This is what America needs, is people like you to remember, come out and take care of the legacy of these guys. So that's my story.
I appreciate
But
it.
I'm honored to meet you. I want to.
Say foxhole.
Obviously, Jason.
Manny Perez.
Yes, sir.
All right. Jack Pritchett.
Left mine at home. Bob
Left
Clutch.
left mine at home. Bob Klutz. Jim Deal.
Right.
All right. Good deal. All right, Manny. Tell me about this. Tell me about this reunion and what you're enjoying about being here in Salisbury.
All right, I joined the unit about, it was like August. I became a replacement for right after the Battle of St. Lo. That's when I came in with them, you know, and I happened to go through the whole thing. I was a driver, and I drove all the way across. I'll tell the story. There was 2 battles that I missed, not because of my fault. Maybe the men upstairs. I blew a tank, track on the tank, and they sent me to ordnance at Nancy. And then that's when the Mortain, Battle of Mortain, which I understand my company led it. My company, and I think my platoon led the attack in Mortain. And that was one of them. And the other was at the Battle of the Bulge. I got there in the morning. We got there after driving all night long. And then we had coffee. We hit the line. Bingo, I got hit again. So I didn't get to start that way late on the Battle of the Bulge, you know. But it was something. Again, I told the man upstairs, took care of me. And that was it, you know. I was born in Texas. I'm a Texas boy, Tex man.
And you live in Chicago?
I'm outside of Chicago. I just moved into a senior retirement plan, you know, for seniors in Bensonville, Illinois. That's where I am. It's right behind O'Hara.
Yeah.
That's where I am right now. Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Pritchett.
Yeah.
Sorry. They used to pay photographers to come out with reporters. Now they don't do that anymore, so it's all me. This experience, getting together with these guys, your family members, all that, what's it mean to you?
Well, I guess you could say I look forward to this every year. Yeah, they not but what, 4 of us now. Used to, I remember the first time we had over 100. I believe it was 130 in 1947. Wasn't but 650 of us in the battalion. And we would really have more at our reunion than lots of times a division, which had about 15,000 men in them. But anyway, this is something that I look forward to.
Where are you from, Mr. Pritchett?
Alabama.
And that's where you live there now?
Yeah.
You're still in Alabama?
Yeah, I got drafted from Alabama.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was 19. But my job in the war But I was in the retrieving platoon, and we had two big wreckers built by Kenworth, 15-ton wreckers. And we would go in after the battle and pull out the knocked out tanks.
Wow. Okay. Thank you for your service. Thank you
Thank
too.
you.
Can I talk to you?
Now, Bob doesn't hear well.
Got it. One second. Sorry. See yourself right there? I guess I just want to ask you, what does this mean to you to be here with your guys, to have this event and have your family and everyone here?
Well, I have my daughter with me here today, and I've attended many reunions, and I was a tank gunner in the 737, and we went into France, D plus 14, 12, and our first battle was the hedgerows, and we had a battle at St. Lo. We was parked around after we'd taken the city. The kitchen was way across the field, and we went over there, and I was coming back across that field, and the P-47s started strafing us, bullets on both sides. I came to a little old bush, and I got into it. And when I got back to the tank, there was a hole big enough to set the tank in. Or somebody had gave it the wrong order. The enemy was on over the hill, but they took it the wrong way.
But it was you.
Then we went to Mortain after several more battles. But we were on this road up to Mortain where the 30th Infantry was surrounded, and we broke into them. And we battled all that day, and we was about to run out of fuel. Captain Conde radioed back to Colonel Lumley that we was running low. He says, I'm going to have to come back and refuel. And Captain Lumley, Colonel Lumley says, Conde, you can't do that. Conde said, I'm now leaving out.
This guy,
I gotta get wide out here. I don't have any help, so you gotta give me a second.
this guy probably went through more than the average in our outfit.
How so? I mean, in what way?
Well, how many tanks did you get knocked out from under you?
I had tanks knocked out on both sides of me, but I never did get hit. I went to the German border. November the 11th was my last battle. Went back to the hospital for 4 months.
Glad you said that. What does this mean for you to be here with these guys and your families and everything?
Well, it means it's I feel like I'm about the luckiest guy around to be here because of all we went through, and one reason I feel more lucky than these other three guys right here. When we got our tanks in England that we were going to have, each company got one tank with a 105 howitzer on it, and the rest of them had smaller guns. And I got into one with the big gun. And when we got over in France and got started out, they took these 5 tanks with the big guns on them and formed an assault gun platoon out of us, sent us down and attached us to the field artillery, which, you know, they usually fire an indirect. They behind, you know, risk outfit. So we stayed back there with them, and we done a lot of indirect fire. And that's the reason I say I'm lucky, a whole lot more luckier than these guys that was up on the front line and being in danger every minute. And our outfit, I think, had 299 days of actual combat. Wound up in Czechoslovakia at the end of the war.
Yeah. Up in the mountains.
In the mountains.
Was Czechoslovakia or Austria?
Well, I heard it was.
It's one of them was. I remember it's where the Blue Danube River comes out of Germany. Now, which country?
Well, yeah, and another thing, I got shrapnel in my legs about halfway through over there, and I went back to England in the hospital again. Went back to see England in the General Hospital, and I never did go back to the outfit. And so where they were at the end of the war, I can't say only what these guys told me. But when I was on the way back to the States on the ship when the war ended over there.
When I got out of the hospital, I went back to France, got in a little tank detachment training with the infantry, running over them in foxholes. I was driving over them. And I was a MP in Brussels, Belgium for about 6 months. And the general, about a week or two, got killed on the highway, and I followed him home. We got on across the canal, and went back to England, got on the U.S. aircraft carrier Enterprise, and came home. That was December the 29th, 45.
Thank you for what